Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our next match of Highway to the Zemus Zone. I'm Tirasu, your restreamer tonight. You will be led by our commentators, Eykir and Rexx Raul. I hope y'all enjoy the race, and I'm going to turn it over to them.
Well, hello, everybody. It looks like we've got a Dark Knight Cecil start for this exciting league match in Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. I am Rexx Raul, and I am joined by Eykir. Eykir, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Rexx. Thank you for asking. Hope everyone out there is doing well, too. We've got a good race here between Keddril, Dragus, Pizza 34, and Invenerable lined up for you.
Yeah, and you know how well everyone's doing in the league so far. Why don't you break it down for us a little bit here?
Well, this group, we have two runners on their very last race. Dragus is sitting at 6 points after 3 games, and Pizza is sitting at 8 points after 3 games after winning his race last night. We also have Invenerable at 7, but he still has a game left after this, so he's got 2 to go. And Keddril is down at 2 points after 2 games.
So Keddril's got the least amount of points, but he's got a couple games that he could come back with. Invenerable is setting pretty good, it seems, right now, but would definitely feel a lot more comfortable if he has a good finish. I mean, of course, this is a race. Everybody's looking to do well, but I think that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, Pizza 34 is also sitting really nice at 8 points. 9 should hopefully get him into at least the play-ins.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if he does really well, hopefully he can bypass that, but that'll be pretty... I think that's still going to be tough for him.
Yeah, it's a good group here.
Well, it's a good group overall in the league, but I mean, we've got 4 good racers here tonight. Anyone who made this round of 32 is going to be a great player.
Usually enough, fun fact about this race, Dragus and Pizza 34 were the last 2 to qualify in the qualifiers. They were spots 24 and 25. So, and despite being that, Pizza is still up there with 8 points. So,
yeah, they both did better than me, and I was higher ranked than that. So,
oh, I'm out already. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But that's why we're in the booth, right?
Exactly. And it looks like we're starting. So let's see who our second character is.
Yeah, Dark Knight Cecil could be a tough start. Looks like he's got, I believe that's Porum.
That is a that's a Palom, I believe.
Oh yeah, Palom, Red Cape. Yeah. So Palom only needs a couple of levels in order to get really powerful, because he can start using the second level elemental spells against most of the early bosses. Gets a couple levels after that, he gets Virus, and then a couple more after that, he gets Quake, and he just becomes, like, for the first 2/3 of the run, he's just like extremely powerful. So that's a real nice find after Dark Knight Cecil, who's considered one of the weakest characters. I mean, you can turn him into a paladin, then he's great, but as a Dark Knight, he's pretty weak.
Yeah, he's only really good if you can find that black sword for him, so he can get some offense going. Looks like we have illusions and cabins in that first item shop.
Yeah, those are both really nice. I think cabins are a great peace of mind item, and the illusions are just extremely useful in a lot of boss fights.
Speaking of that black sword, they just found one in Baron Inn, so Cecil will be putting out some damage early.
Yeah, that'll make an early Hobbs check a lot more. Like, you might not have to loot as much in order to do an early Hobbs check and get another character. Oftentimes with weaker parties, you need to do a little bit more hunting to find like one of those J items, like a Boreas or a Gaia drum or something, in order to feel comfortable in doing something like a Hobbs check.
We also saw Edward at the inn. Edward, our bard. Not a lot of people will probably be keeping him, although some people like him for his strats.
Yeah, if you're well aware of his strats, on certain bosses he can be extremely useful. But if you're just using him for like the obvious attack and take hits and everything, he's among the worst of all of them.
So we have Dragus beelining for that character on Hobbs.
Yeah, and Pizza is checking out the waterway, so is Invenerable, seeing if they can find that early Mist Dragon, finding an evil wall.
Good place to get that out of the way. Ooh, we have another Edward on top of Hobbs, guarded by Golbez. I don't think anyone's going to be going for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. If you want an Edward, there's one in the inn. You don't want to mess around with Golbez if you don't have to. Keddril doing some extra looting down in the basement of Troya. This is somewhere that could give him an advantage, because a lot of people will avoid this treasure room if they don't have access to the exit spell. And so if something really useful is found, like Keddril found a dancing dagger down there, which one can be equipped by Palom and Edward, who are two of the characters that we have there, and is a really good source of early game damage.
We did find a Lilith rod down in the basement of Edward's hometown there, and that will be really good for Palom to start.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be looking for a better rod than that, but it's a very good start. Yeah, it looks like the main divergence is Keddril heading on over to do a little bit of extra shopping after that treasure room in Troya. Lots of shops in Troya, so it's a good place to do some early shopping, with 2 item shops along with the equipment shops. And it does look like we've got Invenerable already heading down into the cave. There's a lot of treasure in this so that you can build up your, not only the equipment that you want your characters to use, but also stuff to sell for a lot of money, and make sure that you can afford to buy these items in the shopping that you do.
Yeah, he also sees Golbez and nopes out of that fight. I saw Invenerable took the hovercraft over to the Antlion Cave instead of flying over there.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things where if you're going to take the animation of going up and down in the airship and then trying to land it right at the right spot versus the addition that's been added to this game of being able to dash with that hovercraft. But what you're trading off on is the time and the animation to get the hovercraft there. We don't know whether or not the hook is going to be required on this seed, so the time that you gain by using the hovercraft over there might be lost by activating the hovercraft. So it's a gamble, but I think
it doesn't cost a lot of time either. And
right,
I always go and get that hovercraft regardless.
Looks like we have the Magus Sisters down at the bottom of the Antlion Cave. And it looks like Invenerable has found a Stardust, going to be able to one-shot these sisters with that item. Very powerful early game attack item.
Yep, use those attack items early because in late game, that 600 damage doesn't mean anything against some of those 30,000 hit point bosses.
Yeah, so you might as well use them when you've got them to make these early fights go as quickly as possible, because when you're dealing with runners that are as good as we have in the league, any sort of advantage that you can get is going to be important.
We find the rat tail at the Antlion spot. So if we
now we're going to
we got that hovercraft.
Exactly. Keddril wants to take on Golbez.
And now he doesn't.
Fake me out there.
Don't blame him. Dragus is going up to Fabul.
Yeah, going to be first to check this spot. I like this early after checking somewhere else because you get a free heal before going into there. So I'd really like it after a battle.
Free heal in and a free heal out too.
Yeah, so don't worry about taking damage. Or at least don't worry about healing at the end of the fight.
Right, we see Yang there. Karate Man.
Attacking his own hometown. And I think Invenerable is now the 4th and final one of our runners to head up Mount Hobbs, see Golbez and Edward and say, I don't think so.
Golbez being there will be good because it means he's not on the moon later or in a place with really high agility, which will be a tough fight.
Yeah, I know one of the previous races in this league, we saw a required Golbez down at the bottom of the sealed cave, and that was a really nasty fight for a lot of our runners because of that speed factor and the high magic power. Here on Mount Hobbs is not going to be nearly as difficult to beat, but man, he's a time sink no matter where you find him. If you don't have to deal with him, I think it's best not to.
I also haven't seen if our runners have found Star Veils yet. So they look for it at shops all the time.
Yeah, they're guaranteed to be in the overworld. I think Keddril found them in Toria, but I might have been mistaken. And we see Pizza already using the Ice 2 from Palom, being able to make use of those level 2 elemental magics. It just makes him so powerful in the very early part of the game. And so Dragus now. Did Dragus defeat the battle? I didn't see what the reward was.
I also missed whether he defeated or not. I don't think he did.
Well, we'll see it right over here on pizza screen. Real like, oh, Tarasu says that he wiped our restreamer Tarasu. So he wants to go somewhere, get a couple levels before trying again. Pizza was able to defeat it as well as Invenerable. Now we'll see what their prize is.
Oh, there's our way underground. Magma key.
The hopes for the hook seed are crashed already.
And I was hoping for a good hook seed, but not today. Sorry, viewers.
We did see Invenerable pick up a mute dagger in one of the chests there. A pretty useful item for Palom. It's a decent weapon for if he has to attack somebody, sort of like the Maga Sisters, who has a weakness or who is a mage type enemy. The mute dagger deals 4 times damage. It also bumps his will stat just like the Lilith Rod does. So it's a weapon that I tend to like. It's also useful because a character like Kane or Edward can also use that to get that advantage against the mage type enemies.
I actually did not know that it bumped will, so today I learned something.
Yeah, I believe it's the same as the Lilith with a +5 on that.
Well, we see Asura here in some spot earlier. That'll get some use.
Absolutely.
We'll do some more shopping. We'll see where he goes after this.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty standard opener for a lot of our runners to do some shopping, and when you feel ready to do the antlion and the pool checks, because they're relatively easy bosses in places where there's lots of chests, so you're kind of combining a lot of the things that you want to do early.
In that clockwise circle around the top and then coming down, you can hit all those shops after doing Fabul, including Massidia and Agart, which Agart's a good stop there because then you throw that magma key in.
Yeah, since our runners have the magma key, going to Agart, like I try to avoid double dipping in towns as much as possible, and so once we've got that magma key, then Agart's a great thing. The question is, who's going to take the trip up Mount Ordeals and transform their Cecil into a paladin? I think that's where we might see some divergence.
So Venerable picked up silk webs in Troya there. Silk was very useful for slowing down enemies, especially save one for Zeromus at the end.
Yeah, since it does two effects of the slow spell, it's very useful. Really difficult boss spots like the bottom of the Fame Arch, the Sealed Cave, and the Moon bosses. If they're tough, throw a silk web on them, and it really helps.
Keddril gets his magma key, and Dragus is going back into the fight. Now he's got some levels. That level 2 spell from Palom does a number on Yang.
Yeah, and also, like, depending on what armor you might have found too, if the Karate Man focuses his attack on Palom, that can be tough. That might have been part of the problem earlier when Dragus was heading over there.
He's been doing a check at the Demas cave to see if Vanilla Demas is there, but no, finds the D-Lunars instead.
Also using this opportunity to head on over and route Kaipo into his checks. A very easy to forget town when you're doing all the things, because it's not near anywhere where you want to land your airship. You have to actually hoof it a bit.
He does find Rydia in the bed and an Hourglass 1 in the single pot that's in Kaipo. He's going to check the item shop now and see if we get anything good.
And that Rydia could be big.
Star Bales.
That Rydia could be huge if we get that Sand Ruby, because we started the game with the Bahamut summon, and so that makes Rydia extraordinarily powerful.
Exactly, that's her best damage spell until she gets nuke. And Bahamut goes through walls, so it can even hit things like hitting walls.
Yeah, and that's really helpful in like the Baigan fight. If depending on what strategy you're using for CPU, Maga Sisters, Ashura, really useful in all of those sort of fights.
Pizza finds sirens down in Mysidia. So we have our source of sirens, we have our way underground. I wonder if people will start doing egg grinds to get some levels.
I think that's been the MO so far in this league, that if you've got the early access to the underground and the early sirens, that you're gonna crack a few eggs at least to shore up your levels before starting to do the underground boss checks.
Right now, all they have who will benefit from that is Palom. Getting Palom to Quake is a very good idea, or at least a virus, but the Cecil is going to lose all his levels if they go to Ordeals to turn into Paladin.
That's a good point, but getting to the point where Palom does learn Quake still might be worth it to use the eggs there, because then you can head up to Mount Ordeals and just Quake all the bosses that are up there and get through it so much faster than you would without that.
Yeah, which I feel at least some of our runners are going to do. No one's gone to Baron Inn to get that Edward yet.
Yeah, we see a lot of Edward defenders when we talk about how weak he might be, like in the chat and everything. But when push comes to shove, people aren't rushing to add them into the party.
So all 4 of our racers are throwing in that magma key, going underground, or at least opening up the path.
Although I can't really blame them right now. I mean, trying to do that second fight in the Baron Inn at these levels is going to be pretty rough.
Because it hits hard, and Palom is squishy.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, we see Invenerable heading to my favorite town in the game, Tomra. We will see if he validates his run by talking to the temp job dwarf. Finds only Hermes in the item shop, one of the wah items in this game.
Always feels bad again. Doesn't even sell for anything. Another dancing dagger, and we have a sound engineering technician. We are validated.
Yeah. I knew I could count on Invenerable.
Keddril going right into that egg grind. Pizza also checking the job dwarf.
Yeah, so if you're not as familiar with this this game, what this egg grind is and the siren in general, basically what the siren does is it summons whatever the rarest encounter is wherever you're at, and we've found a few places in the underworld, and this strip of land that Keddril is on is one of them, where if you use a siren, it's going to summon an egg, and that egg is the home of a yellow dragon. But the egg only has about 1800 HP, and if you kill it, you get 34,000 experience. That's going to be your best source of experience at this point in the game. What's also of note, as you can see on Keddril's screen, is that if you've got the black sword equipped, it can inflict the swoon or instant death status on the egg. And so even if you did that 100 damage, if you trigger that swoon, that's going to one-shot the egg, and that's 34,000 experience right there.
So the easiest grinds you can get in the early game. Invenerable finds a tower key in the Land of Summon Monsters as the free item there.
Yeah, you're right. It's the easiest place at this point, and depending on what your setup is, it might be the most efficient in-game grind too. If you're able to continue to one-shot the eggs, and if you've got the 10 key item threshold where you're getting double experience, so you'd be getting 68,000 experience instead of 34,000. The egg grind is a very efficient grind.
A lot of things make that easy to one-shot them. A Dragon Whip for Rydia, Dragoon Spear for Kane, and people will search out the instant death attack items also, because those will just kill it instantly.
Yeah, and if you've got enough magic power, even like just cast Virus on it will often do it as well. There's a lot of ways to one-shot those eggs.
Yeah, see, Dragus went down and visited Yang and is going to possibly go back and check Sheila 1.
Inven is checking a boss at the bottom of the Land of Summon Monsters. Wanted to see if it was Rubicant or the Elements. And with Mylon Z popping up in that fight, we know it is the Elements fight. That's going to be a pretty nasty spot in the Leviathan spot for the Elements, being really fast. What we're probably going to see is getting the Palom up to the point where he knows Fire 3, and then using a Star Veil to reflect the Fire 3 off of it so that it doesn't transform into the nasty Rubicant phase. In the meantime, while you're doing that, you also have to worry about a very fast Elements with a very hard-hitting physical attack one of the most dangerous in that game. So as a Star Veil might not be enough. You might want to try to find a Moon Veil for that fight.
Yeah, they hit hard, they hit fast. Looks like Keddril's also going down to Shekyang. And everyone's got their tower keys, so there will be no half-tower runs this time, Drilling Captain.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting who decides to go into like Dwarf Castle first, who decides to do Tower first, who decides to do Baron Inn first. And it looks like Keddril's going to go check Sheila, and then looks like Keddril might also be thinking Mount Ordeals based on where he was going there too.
We have all sorts of places open to us. There's only two
Fire
characters,
Emblem.
though. It's gonna be tough to see what people are doing or where to go.
Fire Emblem 1, 2, 3. I believe it was one of the Mylons in the in the other spot, in the Ashura spot down at the Land of Summon Monsters.
Keddril checking Sheila 1 and getting the pass. That means no dual moon trips this time, hopefully.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, it's a relief to find because nobody wants to make that walk. But if you're going to find it, you'd rather find it in a place where it's going to give you an advantage. And here at Sheila 1 is one that I think most of the runners will end up finding. And so the odds of it actually giving you an advantage is probably pretty low. So I'm of two minds of that, because at least you don't have to make the walk of shame.
Yeah, looks like Dragus is taking out Antlion to get that Edward and finds Ogo Pogo behind him. Ouch.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Luckily, Dragus has done some of those eggs to get to Quake. So that's going to make it so that you don't need to do quite as much. Because I think, it's like about 5,000 hit points in this spot, something like that?
Yeah, it's about 4,000 or so. And yeah, those blades are going to hurt, but Cecil's going to be on Cure 2 duty.
Yeah, just keeping Palom up alive so that he can cast Quake a couple times should be enough. Whether or not Cecil dies is pretty irrelevant for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you're going to turn him into a Paladin, he'll reset to level 1. And second of all, this fight doesn't give experience.
Yeah, it looks like Invenerable and Dragus. Invenerable's in there also. Dragus got through and got the Luca key. We have another check we can do underground now.
And if you want to turn your Dark Knight into a Paladin, you're going to have to go through the Fabul Gauntlet in the Mylon position up on the top of Mount Ordeals. That is a long, slow fight, but it might be worth it if you get a much more useful Dark Knight. Now, the trade-off is you won't have access to that Black Sword and the Swoon status anymore after transforming it.
Well, maybe we'll get lucky and find a Mist Dragon up here, too.
Yeah, if you get a double check out of it, it's always great.
I've got a feeling a lot of people are going to be going up there and fighting that gauntlet because there goes Dragus right now heading to get his Paladin Cecil.
I agree. I think we're going to see a lot of people, but the other side is I know that there are some runners, and I don't know if any of these four are like that. Clearly, Keddril and Dragus are, but I know there are some runners who prefer to keep a Dark Knight Cecil if we have access to that Black Sword. So we'll see if anybody decides to make that preference, tries to avoid the long battles up at the top, because even if you don't know that there's a gauntlet up at the there's still 3 boss fights and a cutscene, and you can't exit out of ordeals. So it's a long check, but we'll see.
And getting Quake on that Palom to take it out doesn't really help when you have to fight 9 different fights up there now.
Yeah, 7 in the gauntlet and 2 more. Yeah.
Not enough MP for that. But it looks like Cecil's still picking them up pretty well.
Yeah, and having access to that dancing dagger, that will too.
Beryl took out Ogo Pogo with a neat little strat of bluffing Palom a few times to increase his magic power so he could one-shot him without getting that blaze in return.
Also seeing that dark wave attack, that was another thing. Since we've got the JA flag on, we have the Japanese abilities. Bluff is one of them that you mentioned, the dark wave's another. it's good to see people using everything that's available. I love that. That's one of the things that I really like about Free Enterprise.
All those little useful abilities. And see Keddril getting Calbrena as the back attack boss up on. If Keddril still has a Quake available to him, that'll be an easy one.
Or if there any of those attack items are still in their inventory, that would be useful too. But Keddril does have a Quake, taking care of the dolls relatively easily.
There's a Invenerable heading up also. Get his Paladin.
Yeah, everybody converging on Mount Ordealist now before. So we'll see if they're going to crack another egg afterward to get a bunch of levels on Cecil before they start doing the underground boss checks.
And we'll see what Keddril gets here as the key item. Just the ribbon.
As he was pale in the chat. I tend to agree with you. I would definitely transform Cecil, but then I'm not a big fan of Dark Knight Cecil, even with the Black Sword. And I know other runners do like Dark Knight Black Swords.
I'm not a big fan of Black Sword Cecil either. I prefer the Paladin version. He's got so much more that he can do. It might be good as like an agility anchor, but I just prefer the damage.
Yeah, between being able to swoon some fights and the agility anchoring that he provides, I think those are the two reasons why people like to keep him.
Yeah, Pizza is completing the 4 people going to ordeals. He's got CPU at the ends to finish it off, and low HP spot should be easy to take out.
And this is an interesting fight too, because even though they're kind of floating like that, they actually are not flying. So quake them up.
Yep, it's a common strategy to try to reflect a float onto that little small attacker so you can quake the big one without getting damaged. But here, one quake should be able to just take all 3 out in one shot. And you get your MP refilled right before the fight, so...
And we get the blank text box glitch.
I don't think I've ever seen on that screen before. That's where Tel's getting his medio.
Yeah, at least we know what it's saying there.
Yeah, this point our runners have mostly done the exact same things. Everyone's got Edward, everyone's got the same key items. I take that back. Keddril does not have his Luca key yet. Dragus has not turned into Sheila 1. Or do I have that back?
No, you got it. We saw with Keddril, he had found a dwarf axe. That is a weapon that can be used for the back row. So what he did was equip it and then unequip it, and then equip Cecil with the ice brand afterwards, which is just a regular weapon. However, the way this game works is if in the menu, when you equip a long-range item, it sets that back row bit, but when you take off that weapon, it doesn't take off that back row bit. So for the rest of the game, Keddril is going to be able to use that ice brand or whatever weapon that he finds for Cecil and do the same damage from the back row, as well as getting all the other bonuses from back row, the half damage. And it's something that's really nice on Cecil with his cover ability. Just another reason why Paladin Cecil is just so valuable. But yeah, Keddril at this point opting to keep Cecil in the front row.
And he's now in after his Edward now. So Dragus may be the first one to show us new territory here. After he turns into Sheila 1. Yeah, they got the whole underground open to them pretty much. They have the above ground is pretty much taken care of now. We've hit the 4 key item spots that start the game. So will we go see Tower? Will we see Luca? Will we see a Dwarf Castle check?
Yeah, or is anyone brave enough to go right after those bosses at the bottom of Feymarch? I doubt we'll see that right away, but that is a possibility.
Depends if anyone's picked up illusions that Mylon may be hittable, but other than that, we'll probably see the other plays.
Now, we haven't seen either of the Mylons yet in this race, have we?
I think someone said one was at the bottom of Feymarch.
No, I know. I'm just trying to figure out which one it is.
No, we haven't seen the bosses yet. So it could be Mylon and Friends, could just be Mylon and Z.
Because if it's Mylon and Friends, and you have an hourglass, then you could probably go ahead and take care of him. He's not too dangerous. He just does the lit 1 spells. He'll do physical attacks every now and then once all his friends are down. But if you keep the friends just stopped and you concentrate on Mylon, he's pretty... I'm not going to say he's free, but he's not nearly as dangerous as some other things like that Elements fight over in right next door at the Leviathan spot.
Right, those lit ones are very weak, so should be an easy fight if that is the case. We'll see where people are going.
So I tend to agree with Plywood in the chat. They'll probably go to the castle first in the Underworld, get another character, see if they can get somebody a little bit more useful, and like maybe a white mage of some sort, and then from there maybe Tower, maybe Sealed Cave. Depending on what characters they could go basically.
Or 3 of them are doing as you had suggested and doing a bit more egg grind to get that Cecil some levels. He's behind everyone.
Yeah, probably only 1. That's going to make a ton of levels because one of the flags that we have on is a way to catch up with the experience. If you've got a character who's 10 levels below the median of your party's levels, then you get a bonus on your XP either 2 or 3 times, depending on how much lower it is. And so that 1 egg is just going to do tons of levels.
And Invenerable choose to kill off Edward before doing that. Interesting. Try to keep him as agility anchor in the undergrounds.
That might be with him in that center row. That seems to be.
Heading down now, so everyone will be off ordeals here shortly. It looks like Dragus is going to go to that dwarf castle. Getting a 4th character will definitely help out for some of the future battles.
And Pizza is also going to be, I'm guessing, going to cash in at least one of those. Just trying to do. Yeah, go ahead.
As I say, it looks like Dwarf Castle will play for Invenerable also. While Keddril is going to Tower.
There we are. There's some divergence for you. The advantage of the Dwarf Castle is you get a character out of it as well. The advantage of the Tower is you get 2 potential key item checks. So, I mean, they both have their... there's a good reason for both of these plays. We'll see which one pays off better.
And we have Dark Knight Cecil as the first boss in the Dwarf Castle. You just have to sit through 3 waves of his attacks, which look like they're doing about 350 each. Cecil's got plenty of hit points for that, at least for Dragus. But they're going to be a little weak for that second fight coming up here. We got an Edward who also hit, so that's good. And it looks like Invenerable will have 2 fighters up.
Yeah, that dark wave there for the Pain Man is pretty strong at this point relative to the levels of the party. We see Invenerable's hit point levels just so low. It looks like one of the Mylons is going to be the second fight. So this is also going to tell us who the Mylon down at the bottom of the Feymarch is. And since we have Mylon Z up here, that means it's Mylon and Friends down at the bottom of the Feymarch, which is a much... I would say, all things considered, the Mylon and Friends is a more favorable boss for that spot than Mylon Z would have been.
I would tend to agree with that. And it looks like we see Baigen up at the top of tower.
Keddril's going to be happy to have Palom with Quake for this fight.
Oh yes, he will.
Since the body of Baigen has the can cast wall.
Quake's gonna be really good for that fight. We got Porom as the character in Dwarf Castle, so now we got some twin action going on there. Now twins, now at this point, not a great spell to have. It would have been a lot better to have earlier, but we have a healer.
And a character who can cast Berserk once some eggs are cracked. Very useful character to get a white mage here. Though Rosa is generally preferred because of her late game spell learn rate is a little bit easier, and she's got much better HP growth. Porom will happily fill the role of a white mage in a party here.
And Invenerable finds the first part of Go mode. We had the Legend Sword as the reward for Dwarf Castle.
All right, so we, if we're going for everything that we need in a seed like this, we need to have underground access. We have that. We need to have the Legend Sword and the Adamant in order to forge together to forge the crystal. In the vanilla game, they forged its Excalibur. With this variant of the randomizer right now, we have forged the crystal. So we need the underground access in order to get to Kokol's hut where the forge is. And so we've got that. We've now found the Legend Sword. So we need the Adamant. We also still, we've got a way to get to Zemus with the pass. So really the only thing we need now is the Adamant. This could end up being a very fast seed if the Adamant is available without requiring going to the moon.
We've had a whole string of moonless seeds recently, so this could be one. It could be stuck on the moon somewhere in a rabbit hole.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no guarantee that this is a fast seed, but all of the pieces of the recipe are there for it to be a pass.
Yep, Edmund could literally be anywhere else. As Tarasu just said. Baigen went down at the top of tower. We got an Avenger out of that, which makes that Cecil transformation awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely going to make him a lot stronger than he was with an Ice Brand.
His Avenger gives you Auto Berserk, and there is a glitch with it where if you put it on in the middle of battle, whatever weapon you previously had, its attack power will stay there. So if you had a Crystal Sword or anything with like more attack power than an Avenger, you're berserked. You can't be dispelled from that berserk, and you are hitting with a lot of power.
Yeah, and if you don't have access to a better weapon, it's still very good on its own. It is a very strong sword. That auto berserk, like if you just like kind of look at the nuts and bolts, the attack power and everything, it's hard to see how good it actually is when you take the berserk into account. Looks like Invenerable, with having found Mylon Z, now knowing that the fight down at the bottom of the Fey Marsh is Mylon and the Ghasts, is heading right back down there, going to try to take that really quickly here.
Keddril finds a sewer in the tower key spot. Pretty easy fight. That tower key spot only has like 800, 900 hit points.
Yeah, that's one that Ashura can be really annoying in certain spots, and so it's a relief to find her in an easy spot. And it looks like he's actually going to be fighting the Elements fight first.
Going to use that Moon Veil on Cecil and Just Illusions.
I wonder if maybe he had a glass helm, because he only took 1 damage from the physical hit, and now he's using cover. I mean, this is just like a really heads-up way of doing it, making sure that all the other characters are only at 1 HP, so Cecil's going to auto-cover them from the back row. If he's got the good armor, which it looks like he does have, it's not going to be much of a threat to Cecil. Plus, he's got the illusions to back him up. We've seen a Star Veil hit put on Porum, and now we're going to see the Reflected Fire 3s off Porum. Because basically, the way that the elements fight work is at certain points, the elements will counter anything that you do to them with a transformation. And so if you reflect something instead of do something directly on it, it doesn't trigger any counters. So it will never get the trigger to transform into Rubicant. After Rubicant, when it transfers into Kainazo, it actually has a bit of an HP refill, and you're going to skip that as well. So you're going to be doing less damage overall to make the fight faster this way, and you're not going to see the most dangerous part of the fight, which is probably the Rubicant.
So that was really evil with this one, because Fire 2 is just going to blast everybody there.
Yeah, the Fire 2, Fire 3 glare combo that it does is really scary. So that was a really well-played fight by Invenerable. Like, if you want to see how to deal with that fight, just watch how he did that there.
Keddril did get the Sand Ruby out of that tower key, so I wonder if he'll go back to that character. But he also just noped out of Dwarf Castle after seeing Dark Knight Cecil. Probably wants to rearrange some gear before going back in there.
Yeah, might also want to do some more grinding before that. Now the it looks like just heading back in now, but might also just be aware. A lot of our runners are aware of like the attack power and how much this Dark Wave is going to hit, and hitting for like the 400 each or about as much as it did is not insignificant, as we saw the other runners who went through Dwarf Castle already.
And we're right back to that Mylon fight after getting the spoon out of the elements. Key item, but doesn't serve much other purpose unless we get an edge to throw it.
To answer a question, my future self, everyone is playing it, not only the same version, but the same seed. So everything that's randomized is randomized the same way for all of our runners. So nobody's going to get an advantage just by the luckiness of finding something randomly earlier than something. Everybody's got to do the exact same things.
Dragus heading up the tower. We got Pizza heading up the tower, and Keddril doing his Dwarf Castle, so they're kind of crisscrossing at the moment.
Invenerable now fighting the other fight down at the bottom of the Fame Arch. Did use an hourglass to stop all the ghasts, and is going to be trying to take care of Mylon without killing all the ghasts first. You can see his Palom is using the level 3 elemental magic directly on Mylon without splitting it among all the monsters, basically making it so that Mylon is less dangerous. But at this point,
ooh, he just killed off all the gas. And kill Mylon too.
Yeah, he was doing a good job of knowing exactly how much HP is going to be there to do was going to do it. But the other thing would be, like, if he has access to Berserk, if he saw that the lit ones aren't dealing very much damage, he might want to Quake out and kill off all the other ones and Berserk Cecil to just deal damage as quickly as possible. Berserk is going to be faster than one Palom casting magic, level 3 element. So.
And he gets the Earth Crystal for his trouble, so possibly some more characters. And as Sleepbot pointed out in chat, you've been fought 3 Mylons in a row.
Yeah, that's true. Mylon Z and then the elements, Mylon and friends. Yeah, absolutely. Looks like both Pizza and Dragus are up at the top of the tower, so we're seeing a little bit more. Oh, and Invenerable not far behind them. Once again, we've got people doing very similar things. I want to take this time to just thank everybody behind the scenes who are helping us. If you were here at the beginning of the broadcast, you would have heard Tarastu, who's doing the restreaming tonight. Also want to make sure that you're aware we do have somebody helping us out on the tracking tonight, and that's Rinit. So very much thankful to both of them for doing this. There is another race that is going on right now as well. Just thought it should be aware, if this ends up being a short one, you're going to want to check out that one too, and that's over on the Free Enterprise channel. And if you multi, you might want to check out both of these races tonight too, because I'm sure that's a great race over there.
Keddril is going to go pick up that Iridia in the bed.
Yeah,
everyone else is doing their tower.
Did Keddril, the question for the runners now is, did they keep that Bahamut summon from the beginning, or did they sell it because it is worth a lot of money?
Let's see, right there in Keddril's inventory, so he's going to get great use out of that.
Yeah, for anyone who has a setup like you is Pale in the chat, you got 2 monitors, 2 races to watch. That's excellent.
Oh, and Keddril gets stuck by the old lady boss in the item shop.
That's why Kaipamis is one of the Z sprites we have in this.
She just likes to block your path if you're not straight in, straight out.
She absolutely does.
That one and the one up in Troya who likes to block your exit out. Those
The
two.
one in Troya, I think, is the absolute worst.
You know how many times she's blocked me out and then goes right back in there. I'm like, hey, I'm waiting for her to get out because I have no exits.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keddril picks up that Iridia as a full party.
Instantly learns that Bahamut, so just needs to get some levels so that she has enough MP to cast it. We'll see if he decides to use some eggs for that.
And where he'll go after that, because he just has, I think, Luca and the 2 bosses down in Feymarch.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I think looks like Dragus might be going up to cash in that Sand Ruby as well. I mean, it might depend on who the 5th character we get. Assuming that we find another character to replace Edward, we might be lining up for a either a reflect strat at the final boss or possibly some sort of hybrid, especially with the Avenger. It'll be interesting to see what our runners decide to do in the final fight and how they try to adjust their party going into it. If we end up seeing the characters up at the top of the Tower of Zot, it'll be really interesting to see who they decide to keep, who they decide to boot. Just because at this point in the game, we've got 3 of the 4 things we need for go mode. Our runners are going to be thinking about what characters do I want for that final.
I think we're probably going to have to go up to that Earth Crystal because I believe we've seen everything down in Underground except for Luca Cave. So Luca and Earth Crystal are our 2 remaining shacks that are unknown to us at this point.
Yeah, and that might depend. I think like checking the key item down at the bottom of the sealed is probably faster than going through Zot. But if you've got more of a preference of I want to change up my party a little bit, I think I could get something better, then you might prioritize Zot before the sealed too. So it'll be interesting.
Dragus there is mirroring Keddril. Got his Iridia and is going to crack an egg. See if Pete Zod does the exact same thing.
I mean, I think that's, if you decide to go and get Iridia in a position like this, I think cracking an egg just makes so much sense because you want to have her have access to that extremely powerful Bahamut.
Exactly. I couldn't tell if Dragus had the Bahamut yet or not. You put a Heroine Robe on Iridia, which Heroine Robe reduces your magic power and increases your attack power.
But it also greatly increases defense. So even though the Bahamut might not be quite as powerful, if Iridia survives and can do the Bahamut, then it's still going to do quite a bit. So
that is very true. Yep, Pizza's getting Iridia, and Keddril's going to go check out Sealed Cave.
To answer Tate's 1983's question in the chat, I actually don't think Keddril got the Legend Sword. I think the Edward that's in his party is the one, or did he? I now I'm questioning myself. It was like there was the Edward in the party from there. If he's got both twins,
He has poor yeah.
Then he's got the Legend Sword. And see, here's the thing: like Keddril might be more happy with the party right now than Invenerable is. So Keddril is rushing down to Sealed right now, whereas Invenerable is going up to Zot.
He has poor arm in the party. I can tell when he's switching his sprites there. So yeah, he does have Legend.
Okay. See, the cycling through the characters with the R trigger is very important.
Helps out the commentators and the trackers. We do see Invenerable heading up for that Earth Crystal.
Yeah, it looks like everybody else is heading down to the Sealed Cave. So this divergence could, depending on where it is or what items are in each location, this could give Invenerable a big lead if this is something important.
Keddril's almost there, so we'll be able to check it out.
Well, I suppose everybody else hasn't found that Earth Crystal yet, so that's why they're going here. But they feel safer doing this than trying to fight the bosses of the Land of Summoned Monsters. If they just watched what Invenerable did, they'd probably be fine. But of course, our runners can't see each other.
Yeah, that Elements fight was really clean on the Invenerable side. I probably would have not thought to do that, so I don't know if our runners will either. They got Twin Harp down in.
We might be getting music,
cave.
people.
Cheers for music. Who's guarding it?
Pale Dim.
Ouch.
I don't think this is going to be too much of a problem. Looks like Keddril's got that Avenger on Cecil. That's probably going to be doing enough. Might be just doing some clearing or some healing, maybe some blinking. You're not going to want to use elemental spells on Pale Dim, but Quake or Virus are fine.
Yeah, it looks like he almost soloed himself. Invenerable took out Kainazo, and we see another Edward at the top of Zot.
Yeah, with Invenerable already killing off one of his quite often. Probably not going to want a second one.
See how the seeds control us with that second character. Ah, Sid.
Sid is a really interesting character to get at this point in the game. He's, for a lot of purposes, he's more useful than Edward. And it looks like he is going to make that choice.
He might just... a really slow character, so his agility does not go up that high, so you have to keep him as dead all the time.
And it looks like he had a rune axe in his inventory, and that's one of Sid's best weapons. And so with that in there, he's got Cecil with an Avenger. This definitely looks like, if you want to do a hybrid strategy, if you like doing like a combination of reflecting magic and physical attacks for the final fight, the setup is getting real close for that.
Keddril using the nice warp strats to get out of Sealed Cave quickly. You can't exit from it because of story triggers that are at the very beginning, but you can warp out with your black mages.
And Invenerable's getting Y-burned up here, but able to get one Star Veil up in time. That's all that you need in order to survive this fight. So the Mega Nuke makes the Wyvern hoisted by his own petard. And Invenerable's going to be completing the Tower of Zot here. And we're going to get that key item check real soon here.
Great use of putting Sid in the middle there to make your other characters faster, so you're able to get that Star Veil off.
Yeah, if we talk about agility, anchoring, and everything, the real kind of layman's version of it is that especially with the AA flag that we have, the speed of all the characters, both you and the monsters, is going to be determined by whatever character is in the middle of the party. And the slower the person in the middle is, the faster everything is relative. Now, there are a lot of ways to go into more detail about that, but that's kind of the real base.
Well, I guess there's trouble. The top of Earth Tower is a protect ring. Protect ring is really good for defensive, but it's not progression.
Yeah, for our runners who have to keep mages in the front row because we don't have enough people, or we've just got too many people who prefer being in the back row, a protect ring is going to help those people stay alive.
So Keddril is choosing to give us some music. It's the hero of the hour, while Pizza is going back underground to fight those Limestone monsters bosses.
Yeah, basically, we don't have a whole lot left. Invenerable, I think, has checked everything available to us so far that we haven't seen our other runners do. And then Keddril is heading up to the other open spot that we've got. So
Yeah,
this has got to be some sort of progression here, right?
It has to be. It's the only spot we have unchecked. So Darkness, Baron Key.
And so
instant wipe too, so makes that faster.
Yeah, always good. Now we're going to be a little quiet for a moment or two so we can listen to some music, as it's time to listen to DJ Spoony B's Rockin' Tune. As we enjoy this sweet Final Fantasy 1 music, Keddril's probably pretty happy the guards here. It's a pretty much a free fight. They're susceptible to hourglasses, and you can use stone on them. You can use instant death on them. You can cast Bahamut, but this spot here at the I guess that still does plenty of damage because it's Bahamut. But that spot is known for really high magic defense, and when you've got a party full of mages, that can sometimes be a tough spot. Keddril just destroys it. No problem.
Yeah, you gotta worry when you took the Avenger off, it didn't equip anything else, because if you Avenger in the middle of battle like that, you have fists as your damage weapon, as your damage for your Avenger. But yeah, Bahamut takes care of anything.
And we get the pan for completing that, so now...
Forgot about pan, also forgot about Hook. Somebody mentioned Hook in chat. Pan will give us 2 more key item checks.
Absolutely. So that should bring us to something useful.
Pizza gets his Earth Crystal. So will he do Earth or will he do Heart?
And we're gonna listen. Like if you have your CD, then you can hit the back on the track to listen to it again. If you've got cassette tape, you can hit rewind. If you've got LP, you can just move the needle back a little bit, because we're listening to the same song again. To answer Skip Sandwich's question, can a seed be pass only, or is darkness guaranteed? Darkness will be guaranteed.
items cannot be in places where you would need them to get them. So yeah, it has to only take you to Zemus. It does not take you to the moon.
And the Darkness Crystal will never be found.
And we have go mode. Keddril finds admins at
The
Silk Spot.
And when he forges the crystal, he'll be at 10 key items. So he'll be able to grind with the double experience. So probably just going to see a bunch of eggs being ground.
Yeah, another moon not required seed.
The only yeah, since that you've got to get either the hook or the Darkness Crystal from Sheila, I don't think it's worth checking. If you had a free item, like if you knew that it wasn't progression like that, you might do a quick check just to see if Excalibur is there. But in this case, I don't think you bother.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you're in Keddril's position, grind and go. He probably doesn't know he's in the lead right now, but with his positioning, 2 points after 2 games and grinding and going, that's what he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of our runners are going to be converging relatively soon. Dragus has also completed the fight with the Baron Guards, but that's not a long fight, and you exit out of that place, the Cave Magnus, so it's not going to take too long for Pizza and Invenerable to complete this this cave and be rewarded with their adamant. We're going to have a really close fight for the final fight.
Yep, Strikes is about to get his go mode. Will everyone have 10 key items? I believe so.
I think Invenerable's going to have even more with Crystal and the Spoon, but I think everybody else has done basically the same things.
Actually, Pete Za is 1 short. He never got that rat tail.
But he's going to get the pan here. He's going to get the adamant, and he's got the
And
earth
this
crystal.
You are correct. I missed the pan part. Now we're to see a bunch of people grinding and going.
Invenerable making use of kamikazes to get through the first part of this Dark Elf fight faster. This is just another one of these heads-up plays that you use to gain a little bit of incremental time.
That's one thing I always forget to do there. I always see people pick up kamikazes, and I always think they're useful more for plague, but yeah, that's definitely an excellent use of them. Number of times I tried to virus myself and have it not work a lot.
To clarify, Min the Mage, it's included in the pass is included in the key item pool, but it doesn't count as a key item towards your 10 for double experience. The PK flag is what puts it into the key item pool. There are other flags you can do with the pass so that it's not necessarily the same. Like you can make it in a shop, or you can make it in a random treasure chest. So now we have Dragus also on this little strip of land to start the egg grind. Pizza
and Invenerable are just finishing up their fight, so they're going to be right on their heels.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely close. So we'll see how early people want to make the commitment to the Zemus fight. Now, the Zemus fight is no joke. You want to know what you're able to do in order to be ready for it. What you're going to want is a decent agility anchor. Now, we talked a little bit about agility anchoring earlier today. For the Zemus fight, you're either going to want somebody with an extremely low agility or somebody with like 28 or just above 28.
28.
Those are kind of break points.
It sets Zemus's whatever number it is, number it takes to do an action to 2 instead of 1, so he's twice as slow. The other reason to take a very low one, looks like Keddril is killing off this Edward to have a low one, is relative to Edward, everybody else in your party will be fast, hopefully a 1 or a 2, to match Zemus's 1 that he will be.
Yeah, so those are kind of the two most common. You could, if we had much more powerful party members, you might not care about it as much. But when you're going to be trying to roll with twins, Rydia, and just one Cecil, you're going to have kind of a fragile party, and you're going to want to be able to know exactly how Zemus is going to react.
Just like Keddril, Dragus, and Pizza are going to go in with the same party. They've all picked up the same 5 characters. Invenerable has a slightly different one because he went up to Earth.
Yeah, he went to the Tower of Zot instead of cashing in the Sand Ruby. So his party makeup is a little different with that Sid. So he's got a little bit different options. He's going to have a little bit more HP because Sid has incredibly strong HP growth. So that's going to be something else that he will be able to take into consideration when it comes to this fight.
Unfortunately, nothing of good in the shop there for where you get the crystal.
Well, black belts are pretty good.
They're decent. Do they add magic defense? I did not think so.
Well, they add strength, and so that's going to be good for Cecil and Sid for Invenerable because he's equipping both of them with the black belts right now. It looks like he wants to do some sort of hybrid strategy. He must have some sort of magic defense too. Because he never found like wizard shirts or Gaia robes or sorcerer robes. So
it does look like it had 2 defense per magic. So,
and he had the money to burn at that point. Looks like Keddril might be done.
Keddril was getting pretty close. His people are always going shopping.
I don't think he wants to go shopping here because all he can buy are her.
I don't think he stopped by here yet.
Maybe not. Might be looking for Cure 3s. I don't know if we've seen them. That's a very useful item for the final fight.
I don't recall seeing them either.
They may be. We haven't seen the Evelyn shop or the shop. They could be in either of those places.
True, and we have no hook and we have no darkness crystals. We probably won't see either one either. Looks like he is just getting ready to go.
Yeah, heading over to Toria. It was probably looking for something like Cure 3s or Silk Webs. If he wasn't able to find. Oh, he's got at least 1 Silk Web. And 1 is all you need.
Yep.
Yeah,
Starbills are there. Got 2100 on his Palom. That's pretty decent. 1900 on Porom. Hopefully they should be able to survive some big bangs.
1600 on Rydia is a little rough, but at least she knows Nuke, and that's the important.
And Keddril is all set here for Reflex Rats.
Yeah.
Dragus is also going. This is going to be a close race. Oh, Dragus is going.
Mount Hobbs wants to get the fresh Edward for a very low agility anchor.
Hey, I don't know if I do that if I had to go through that
Golbez fight?
Golbez fight. Yeah, it should hopefully be quick now that they have levels, but it's still going to be something you can't skip through.
So now we've got an important question to ask, Eykir.
Yes, we do. Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Absolutely. It is butt time. Everybody get out your guesses as to who you think Zemus is going to be presenting as tonight. Because one of the most fun things about this randomizer, if you haven't seen it before, is that Z flag that you see in the middle. and that means the final form of Zemus could be one of hundreds of possible randomized sprites that we have in there. Of course, Zemus's script will remain exactly the same. He fights the same no matter what he looks like, but you could look like so much things.
We have a question in chat. Why is Dragus on Hobbs? Dragus is on Hobbs because he's trying to get another his agility anchor. He wants a low-level Edward in order to make everybody else in his party as fast as possible.
Yeah, because if your character in the middle row, the middle position is very low, agility relative to the rest of your party will have more turns. And that is really good for important fights like Zero.
We have Unalesmus. I have not seen that one before. That one was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. A very notorious fight in Final Fantasy X, if you've ever played the game. The Unalesca fight is a very difficult one. Let's hope Keddril has an easier time with Unalesca Must than I did the first time I fought Unalesca. That first Big Bang came out pretty fast for Keddril. Wasn't able to heal up Palom after taking that counter nuke. He does have Cecil, who's probably going to be there basically as a chemist, so might be able to revive Palom from there.
Looks like he may have missed the Silk Web. Zemus is immune right before like the first action he takes after he transforms is to become unimmune. So if you throw it before that happens, you just miss.
He was able to get something on Zemus though, because there was a counter nuke and the first Big Bang was nerfed. So at least there was that.
He did get a slow off.
It was a straight slow spell.
Really quick. It was a straight slow.
No. Yeah, that's not as ideal as a Silk Web, but sometimes you got to make do with what you got. And sometimes it's tough to get that timing right on that first Big Bang. We see Keddril attempting to nerf the second Big Bang by making this counter nuke, and did not like the damage rolls or the targets. Just does a reset. Probably frustrated after that. That Silk Web miss too, and just wants to do it again. We have Dragus, who's picked up that Edward and is now ready to go in, and he's going to be fighting Unalesca as well. Meanwhile, Pizza and Invenerable are finishing up their grind.
Keddril's plot some more Silk Web so it doesn't happen again. Smart move.
Yeah, now even if you miss, you've got a back and forth. But that's going to make it tough, because right now Dragus is taking the lead by being into the Zemus fight before Keddril.
Probably by about 20-25 seconds, I'd say. It's going to be a Titan still.
Yeah, it looks like his levels are either a little bit lower than Keddril. Keddril used some apples to make his Porum have more hit points. Looks like Invenerable might be done with his grind. He's getting back in the airship. Yeah, he's flying back up to the overworld. Looks like he's going to be not far behind our other runners.
Oh, he's going to pick up that Ridian now as his anchor.
Yeah, level 1 Rig is a very good agility anchor. You see that counter nuke hitting Porum on Dragus, one shot here. But it looks like Dragus isn't keeping Cecil as a chemist, instead keeping that Avenger equipped and going for something hybrid in this fight. So it's going to be a different strategy than we're seeing on Keddril's.
Okay. After that, it'll clog the queue, so it will help slow down some of the action. But the other side is it will probably trigger the HP refill. Whereas Keddril will skip it if he does get all pure reflex strats.
But if you have to spend more time recovering during, like, dealing with nerfing big bangs and everything like that, then even though you're dealing less overall damage with the reflex strategy, sometimes it can be faster to go with the hybrid strategy. It kind of depends on how powerful your berserkers are versus how much damage you're dealing with the reflected strategy. Plus, like, do you have to spend a lot of time healing? Like, there's just so many factors. It's a tough fight. Both strategies are valid, and we'll see which one works here. We see Dragus busting out the Bahamut in this fight.
No counter must have mean hit the refill on the counter.
If you time it right, you could get a lot of value out of Bahamut, but you gotta make sure you're doing it at the right time.
That was perfect timing then for him.
Looks like he's gonna try again, though.
That first item you get, that Bahamut, is gonna do some work for him.
Well, this is getting close. We have Pizza now in the fight. It looks like Pizza uses the Avenger as an item. I don't know how that even happens. And we see that counter virus from the Bahamut summon. But after dealing almost quad 9's damage, it might be worth it.
Yeah, speed that fight along. Ooh, but a big bang falling right for that virus. Hope we have some survivors here.
Yeah, this one could be rough. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one.
Hopefully he'll be close.
If he's got a black hole coming up, he might be able to get that Cure 4 off from Porum, so he might be able to recover here.
And he does. Meanwhile, Keddril is just plugging along. Had to recast a Star Veil on Pelham, because it was on Edward.
Here comes a big bang.
Ooh, this could hurt for Keddril also.
Dragus was able to get that Cure 4 off. But now the single target nuke is going right on Porum, so she's down again. And now all 4 of our runners are in the final fight.
Keddril's Porum survived, and so that Cure 4 is coming out there. Pizza is still reflecting things, and it's about to start. And all 4 at the same time. Great.
Yeah, this is really exciting.
Dragus and Keddril are both right there. Either one can end at any time here.
We saw big quad 9s from a nuke on Dragus' side. We're in Meteor phase on Dragus' side. Rocks are falling. As long as nothing crazy happens, I think Dragus might have this. And there we go. There's the flash.
There's the flash. Dragus gets it. First place.
Official time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 20 seconds. GG's to Dragus. Well done on this nail-biter of a seed.
GG Dragus.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Keddril isn't right behind here.
And there's Keddril. Yep.
Yep, their official second place.
Nice.
1 hour, 16 minutes, and 51 seconds. 31 seconds between first and second here. GG's, and our final 2 runners are in the fight.
Either one can end at any time also. GG's Dragus and Keddril, first and second.
And we'll see if we can get in Dragus. and Keddril for interviews. I believe we have Dragus.
Hey.
GG on your first place finish. Very well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, GG Dragus. He went and picked up that character on Hobbs at the end there.
Yep.
Was that the plan all along?
At some point, it's like, I could really use a decent anchor because this party is going to really have struggles with Zemus.
Yeah, and with that anchor, it looks like you had to get into a little bit of recovery in that fight. But you were able to get, like, the timing was good. You were able to get a life potion and a cure 4-up on Forum during a black hole sort of cycle. And so you're able to get back into it and finish the fight out strong. So, really well done there.
Yeah. Forum wasn't surviving any of the big bangs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Her HP it can make it really tough. I believe we're also joined by Keddril. Keddril, GG's on your second place finish. 31 seconds between first and second tonight.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I can tell you both right now. Pizza and Invenerable are both in the final fight right now.
Wow, so quick seed. And Pizza just, crazy.
No one took the moon bait, did they?
No, about Darkness.
Yeah, I don't know
where it was.
Darkness.
Was there a darkness crystal somewhere?
I think it had to have been probably behind Rat Tail. Or behind, if it led to Baron Key or Sheila 2 maybe? I don't know. We haven't...
Sheila 2 would lead to it. We don't know what it was though.
Yeah, I didn't do Sheila 2 either. I was tempted to do it in case Cecil had she had a crystal sword or something for Cecil, but I just never took the risk.
Yeah, I kind of thought that would be the only reason I might check there. But, I'll also, I just want to also point out, Pizza has finished in third place, 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 59 seconds. So GG's to Pizza. And
GG.
GG.
So this was a really fast seed, all things considered. Do you like that start of Dark Knight Cecil and Palom?
I actually thought it was kind of nice because I did a little bit of an early egg grind and he was just swooning the egg, so...
Yeah.
Probably would have been better just to leave him as Dark Knight Cecil the whole time.
I was curious as if anyone might have been tempted to try that.
Mm-hmm.
But all four of you ended up making Cecil into a paladin. And I think with that Avenger at the top of tower, that probably ended up being pretty good. But
yeah, that's true.
That Avenger was half the DPS in my fight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything that either of you thought was particularly difficult or noteworthy that you encountered during the seed?
Ogopogo at Baron wasn't very great, and missing that silly silk web at the end there was. I'm not used to the reflect strats, so I think that's probably what everybody went for. So.
Nah, I ended up just doing like CISO attacking and everyone nuking, the others nuking, or Bahamut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, using that Avenger and using the Bahamut, definitely good strats there. Neither of you did the bosses down in Feymarch. Is that a conscious decision to skip on those?
For me, it was, yeah. I kind of committed to this time to just following the trail because my last race I sort of got off track, just trying to cover all the single checks right quick. So I just stuck to, if I got a key item, I just followed it through. So they didn't come into play very yet.
Yeah, that was probably, if I didn't get the pan down, well, the twin harp down at the Luca Cave, I would have probably gone there next.
Yep.
So Dragus, with this first place run, this was your last race, if I'm reading everything on the standings correctly, and that brings you up to 10 points. How do you feel about that in the league this year?
Feeling good.
That's great. So, do you think that's going to be enough to make it into the elimination rounds?
It's a bit questionable, but I guess since it's out of 16, get 16 points.
Sounds about the median, so it should put you right in the middle there, probably around the play-out race, the 17 through 20. So, good luck to you.
And Keddril, that second place finish puts you in 5 points. So I think you're going to be trying to get first. I mean, I don't think you wouldn't have tried for first place no matter what. But I think if you get there 9 points, I don't know if that's going to make it, but it might. Depending on where breakers go and everything, I'm not sure.
Yeah, with Dragus' first place, I think the minimum to be in the top 16 is going to be 10. Just looking at the standings here already, I don't know what happens to the other. Yeah, with Dragus,
it's supposed to be top 20. Top 16 through 20 getting, or 17 through 20 getting to a winner advances one. So I think 9 will get you into that if you can win your next race. Good luck.
There we go. The opponents I'm facing, that's an uphill battle.
Well, good luck, and thanks to both of you for joining us on the interview and for letting us watch your race. GG's again.
Thank you for commenting and hosting and tracking.
All right, and I believe we are also joined by Invenerable. Pizza is not going to be joining us for an interview. He does not have a microphone, but give some shout outs and another GG's for him. But we have Invenerable, our 4th place finisher tonight, joining us. Finished at a time of 1 hour 29 minutes, or excuse me, 1 hour 21 minutes and 59 seconds. And Inven, I guess that you've got to be thinking that Earth Crystal, man, that might be the difference in your race.
Oh yeah, I mean that was easily the 5 minutes without a doubt. But you know, Tarasu really wanted me to take the L, so there, it's taken care of now. Let's get it out of the way now, and let's not have any more of those going on the rest of the league.
Yeah, this was another. We've had a number of these so far, but a really fast seed where you're just, as you said, 5 minutes behind first place, and you're in 4th place. That's an incredibly close race.
Yeah. Did anyone else actually end up doing Tower of Zod, or was I the only one?
Basically,
Everyone.
all 3 of you were in the same sort of position, except not everybody had done the Fame Arch bosses, so they didn't even have the Earth Crystal. So they all went down to Sealed Cave when you went to Zod.
Gotcha. So 4th place by 5 minutes, and I did all of Fame Arch and Tower of Zod. I can't feel too bad about that. The lack of points, that hurts a little bit, but just knowing that I did all those extra spots and still came in that close, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and your strategy of dealing with the elements fight over in the Leviathan, with making sure that everybody in the party had low HP except for Cecil, putting him in the back row, and letting him do the cover, that was really smartly played, I must say.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you do have, fun little ways of getting through bosses that you probably don't have any business fighting, and then you just get punished. But it happens.
Right. Exactly. Like, you want to be rewarded for doing something like that. And it just didn't happen on this race, so that's sort of the nature of the randomizer.
Rando or rando.
Yeah.
You're still pretty good shape, though. 8 points, you're going to at least 9, and 9 should get you into at least a play-in.
Oh, we are not getting a 4th place Wednesday night. That's not happening.
I don't foresee that either.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you, Restream team. Appreciate all the hard work y'all do. I am going to go eat something and watch the other race wrap up. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for letting us watch your race tonight.
Yeah, thank you to our Restream team, Tarasu on Restream, and Renit at doing our amazing tracking. And my partner here, Raul, for commentating.
Yeah, and looks like we're going to be heading everybody over to Bahamut X. And want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Also want to give shout outs to everybody who's doing admin duty on the league. They've been doing a very good job of making sure for getting everything restreamed and enforcing all the rules in this league. Also, shout outs to the RPG Limit Break Network for letting us have our league highlighted on their channel. So big thanks there. And once again, GG's to all the runners. Make sure you give them a follow. And as I said, we're going to be heading on over to Bahamut X.